This is a political fight that has been brewing for several weeks now. Michael McCormack today trying to get back on the front foot here, laying out the specific numbers that the federal government would like to see each state and territory lift their international arrival cap by. We've heard so many stories of Australians stranded overseas who've booked flights to try and return home but have then been cancelled. The federal government says the reason why it's so difficult for so many people to return home is in fact the cap on hotel quarantine that the states and territories have put in place. Here's the numbers that exist currently as the federal government pushes to increase it by 2,000 a week. Sydney certainly taking the lion's share here. They accept 2,450 passengers a week, now being asked to increase that by 500. Perth being asked to double the capacity, so currently 525 passengers a week, increasing that by 500. It's a similar story in Brisbane, currently receiving 500, an increase by 500 proposed. Adelaide currently accepts 500, but they're being asked to take slightly less, so an increase of only 360. Canberra and Darwin both currently only accept flights on a case-by-case basis, basically not taking any international travellers, and it's the same story in Hobart. Here was the Deputy Prime Minister this morning.
So I thank the Premiers for their forbearance. I've notified them that I want to see those additional 2,000 places enacted, and as soon as possible. Hopefully by the end of the month, but if it's possible to do it sooner, then that would be fantastic, because we do want to see there's up to 30,000 Australians who've registered their interest with DFAT and the embassies abroad to make sure that they know, that we know that they want to come home.
Now, this will form part of the discussion at this Friday's National Cabinet meeting. We'll remember yesterday the Labor leader Anthony Albanese ratcheting up this debate, calling on the Morrison government to do more, to charter RAAF flights if necessary, to bring 100 Australians at a time home from Europe. They received the backing today of the Queensland Premier Anastasia Palaszczuk. She's called on the Morrison government to do more when it comes to getting Australians home, but also hotel quarantine.
I think it's imperative that we get back to Australia as many Australians as we possibly can. So there's a couple of things. The first thing is the federal government can utilise its aircraft to bring people back, and they can set up accommodation for that. And of course, I've said very clearly, I mentioned to the Deputy Prime Minister, that I would be more than happy to look at taking more Australians here where we have the capacity to do so, because I don't want families to be separated.
Now, the ACT currently doesn't have any scheduled international flights, but the Chief Minister, Andrew Barr, telling Sky News this morning the Territory would be willing to accept one charter flight a fortnight full of approximately 150 returning travellers, but that's on the proviso that they do get assistance from the Commonwealth.
Necessary preconditions for that are a quarantine hotel that is only taking international arrivals, so no mix with domestic tourists. We would also require both Australian Federal Police, Australian Defence Force support, and obviously engagement with the Australian Border Force.
The New South Wales Premier revealing after a phone call with the Prime Minister yesterday that she would be willing to accept another 500 passengers per week, but Ashley says that is contingent on the other states and territories doubling what they're currently taking now.